Year 17 and brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, I saw you in NBA Countdown. I saw you in the crew and you in your suits and you guys having fun on national three-letter network television on ABC. And I also saw the game that followed, and it was a good one. Saturday's game between the Rockets and the Thunder. The Rockets went out to a lead. James Harden had 42 points, extending his streak of 30-plus games. But it all fell apart in the fourth quarter when the Thunder stormed back against led by another Russell Westbrook triple-double, tying him with Wilt Chamberlain for the record of 9 straight, and a monster game from Paul George. Paul George has had a fantastic season, especially over the last 11 games, during which the Thunder are 10-1, mind you. In the last 11 games, he's averaging 35 points, shooting nearly 50% from the floor, and almost 50% from three. This is over 11 games. This is not a 3-game run or a 4-game run. And adding 7.5 rebounds a game. Jalen Rose, we talked about this dynamic. We saw what happened with the chemistry was kind of off last season, but now they have truly settled into a two-headed monster. What has worked so well between Russell Westbrook and Paul George?
Well, the number one thing about Paul George is when you start to do power rankings about hairlines, he's number one.
He's
Tatum's
up there.
number 2, and I'm number 3.
It's a great point. That's a great point, Jalen. That's a great point. I'm glad you started with that.
No question about it. So now that he's so comfortable, when they put a microphone
it's all related.
And all of a sudden he's feeling good about himself, and Russell has embraced him as a teammate and has an opportunity to average a triple-double for the 3rd straight year, and uniquely is shooting so poorly from the three-point line and the free throw line. I keep stressing this. Feel free to run with this point. I ain't heard nobody steal it yet. 2 years ago, he shot 83% from the free throw line. This year, he's shooting 63%. It just lets you know that his confidence is gone in his jump shot. So now, enter Paul George, who's playing at his own pace. Initially, when he got there, Russell likes to play like his hair's on fire. Constant motion, 100 miles and running. Paul George is more of a prober at 6'8", 6'9", long arms. He's really smooth, gets in and out of traffic, can knock down the three-point shot with the best of them. Now all of a sudden they're featuring him, running zipper screens to get him the ball at the top for pick and rolls and for ISOs, finding ways to get him the ball in transition. So now his confidence is at an all-time high. He's performing better than he has at any point of his career, including when he was leading Indiana to Eastern Conference Finals.
In the Western Conference this season, it's been very jumbled. The Warriors are clearly the cream of the crop, but underneath that, I mean, the Nuggets have had the best record, but I don't really believe in them the same way I do some of the other teams. And then the Rockets have been hot and cold. They've been dealing with injuries, but there's one team that's just been steady climbing. One team that we said would be the toughest out for the Warriors in the playoffs. And after the Nuggets lost 3 in a row, don't look now, but after winning 10 of 11, the Thunder are right there. The Thunder, I predict, as you predicted early in the season, will be the 2 seed in the Western Conference and will have the opportunity to lose to the Warriors in the Western Conference Finals if it goes the way it is in the seedings. Do you think, as I do, that the Thunder will end the season in the number 2 spot in the Western Conference?
I think they're going to jockey for it with the Denver Nuggets, but ultimately, like I've said since the beginning of the year, they will be in position to take the Golden State Warriors to a long series. They have 2 all-NBA performers in Paul George and Russ. They have the ultimate will big in Steven Adams, who's going to make Boogie and Draymond work, also frustrate them. They have so many players on the perimeter with length. They can do a lot of switching. They have a lot of toughness, and their calling card is on the defensive side.
Defense, yep.
Of the basketball. So therefore, that's going to always give them a chance. Even against Houston, when they were down 26 points, get a stop, get a steal, get a block, get out in transition, get to the free throw line. They work themselves back in the game, and that's how they play on a nightly basis. And also the last thing, it's going to be personal. Who did Kevin Durant play for before he went to the Warriors?
Forgot. Oh, wait. I was the Thunder.
Do you feel like their fans, their coach Billy Donovan, who he created a burner account to defend himself and slander those guys, and Russell Westbrook aren't going to be enthusiastic to go against them?
Oh, I think they will.
What about Russ? Who's going to guard Russ? See,
no one can guard Russ.
That's what I'm saying. So now all of a sudden you're making Steph Curry work defensively. And I know that that's not going to be the initial matchup, but all you got to do is set one screen. That's all you got to do. All you got to do is do it in transition. There's going to be times where Russell's 12 to 15 feet away from the basket and he's being guarded by a smaller guy. That's going to put him in position to be more efficient, which is what also is going to make OKC a lot better as the season progresses.
And it's going to put everyone in a position to be like, oh, man, I got to help Steph and then lose their man. And that's why Russell Westbrook has had so many assists this season. Moving on to a game those Warriors played in late last night. I had to stay up and watch it. They had the Heat in town, and I stayed up and watched it because it was a good game. It was close. The Heat started out really hot, and then the Warriors climbed back. It came down to the finish with the Warriors ending the game with the win. But I want to take a look at some of the scenes after the game. Now, obviously, this is going to be Dwayne Wade's last time in Oracle, and they did the jersey exchange thing, and everyone came over to give Dwayne Wade props. And, you know, they did this like this new look league thing where they celebrate the other team. But it wasn't just one way. Dwayne Wade had something to say about the Warriors that I wanted to talk to you about. Dwayne Wade said, quote, "That's as good as it gets in our game with any team to ever play the game. That is as good as it gets with a starting five. That is why they are who they are. That is why they are champions. To be able to add a guy like DeMarcus to it, that's what great teams do. They add a piece and keep adding certain right pieces, and they've done it." Jalen Rose. He just said that that's one of the best starting fives to ever play the game. Are you buying it?
They're one of the best starting fives currently, probably over the last, say, decade. But as somebody that has a lengthy history of not only playing the game, but being a fan of the game, now covering the game, you're ignoring the fact that there's so many great historic teams to come before this Warrior squad. And while they do have 5 All-Stars from the previous season, how many All-Stars do they have this year? 3.
Oh, Clay got in.
Okay.
They deserve to.
So they have 3 All-Stars. So how many teams can we name in the history of basketball that have had 3 All-Stars?
We can name a lot.
So look at the early 80s Lakers. Look at the Celtics. But here's the winner. And it's not necessarily about quote-unquote starting. It's really about finishing. That's the most important thing. Dwayne Wade don't start for the Heat, but he finishes. Okay. How about this lineup? Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman and Tony Kukoc, Ron Harper at the 1. To me, that arguably is the greatest starting 5 of all time and or closing team.
Well, the starting 5 of the Celtics is in disarray. It's looking kind of dumpster fire-ish in Boston. We'll break it all down right after this.